Everyone, and welcome to the Foster Files, a podcast about animal rescue and welfare. My name is Kelly, and every week I talk about issues surrounding animals in this country and to the people who are passionate about making their lives better. For this week's episode, I'm just going to do a quick solo sharing of some thoughts and some observations that I've had. I don't have an interview this week, but I do have a lot of scheduled interviews coming up, so make sure you subscribe to the newsletter and make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on any of your feeds that you listen to podcasts so that you can be sure to get all the latest content and the latest interviews that I have. As far as last week is concerned, obviously you saw that I dropped two episodes because we had a special episode where we talked about the need to ban carriage horses in New York City. If you haven't already, please click on the link in the show notes for that episode. Click on the link in my bio, and you can go ahead and sign the petition to help move New York City Council to ban carriage horse rides in New York City. It's no longer a sustainable or safe practice for people or animals. And if you already have signed that petition, I want to thank you very much for taking a little bit of time out of what no doubt is a busy day to go ahead and do that. And I really, really appreciate it. And I know that the people who are fighting to ban carriage horses also really appreciate that effort coming from all over the country. So, on today's episode, I just wanted to talk about some of the little things that we as fosters hear every single day. And we hear it not only from kind of the people out in the wild, public, family, friends, but I've actually seen and heard fosters say these things to other fosters. And I just want to kind of work through a little bit of why this language is not always the best way to go about things, even though it might be well intentioned. And what I'm talking about is I'm talking about whenever a foster talks about the fact that they do foster animals, or whenever they have a particular foster, I hear every single time I mention this to people, oh, I could never give them up. Or if I have a foster and I'm engaging with people with that foster, I hear, oh, I can't believe you can give that foster up. Just keep them. Why don't you just keep them? They love you. They're so attached to you. Just keep them. Don't you love them? Just keep them. And honestly, like, I realize that people are not saying that maliciously. Like, I'm not an idiot. I know that people aren't saying that maliciously. But it's not the nicest thing to hear all the time. It's this weird, like, mix of, you know, you're saying like that I'm somehow or implying that I'm somehow doing some harm to this dog or the well-being of this dog by putting them up for adoption, by only holding on to them temporarily. And I've talked to other people in animal rescue about this, and so I know this is a really prevalent thought. And it just kind of sucks to hear it because the reality of the situation is we can't keep every dog. And of course, we love every single dog or every single cat or every single foster animal we have that comes through our doors. Fosters do this because we love them all, not because it's easy to give them up and have them go to a different home. And every rescue handles it different, and every rescue allows their fosters to be involved in the adoption process differently. But even if I'm insanely involved in the process, even if I'm adopting out my dog that I'm fostering to a really close friend or even a family member, in control of that dog's day to day. And you know how it is. Like, nobody ever does things the way that you would do them. And so there's always like this idea of like, are they getting the same level of love and care that I would give them? And yeah, that sucks and that's hard to hear. But just that idea that, oh, you should keep them, they're so attached to you, or they love you so much, you should keep them, or it's going to be so hard to give them up. It's like, if I don't give them up, I'm not going to continue to be able to foster. I'm not going to continue to save lives. And there's a part of me that fosters for me and for my fulfillment in this life. But I don't do this entirely for me. I do this for the system. I do this for the dogs that need help. I do this for the other volunteers so that they don't have to do it. And when you're saying that kind of thing to a foster, I don't know, it just doesn't have that positive ring to it that you think that it does have. And it's just really not helpful. So if you are interested in talking to fosters in a little bit of a different way, I'm going to give you some suggestions. And I think that that would be helpful in some of the language. So instead of saying like, aren't you going to keep this one, or why don't you keep this one, it would be really helpful to say, well, what kind of home would be the best home for this dog? Or what kind of home do you wish this dog would go to? And I obviously am saying dog, cat, whatever foster animal you have, rabbit, guinea pig, I don't know, but what would be the perfect home for this pet? That really allows the foster to think about, I don't know. I just think that you're going to get a reaction from a foster of like, oh, let me tell you all about the best home for this animal. The best home is going to be with another animal, or solo, or with kids, or without kids, or whatever. And I don't know, just this idea of saying like, well, don't you love them? It kind of implies that we might say no. Like, who's going to say no? I don't love this dog. I can't wait to adopt it out. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of ridiculous. So asking the foster, what would be the best home for this animal? Or even saying, like, well, how long do you hang on to them before they get adopted? That's a great question, especially if you don't know necessarily how this system works. Or do you train them while you have them in your home? Or how long have you had them? How do they get along with your family? All those things are so much more helpful, and that they give that person the opportunity to talk well about this dog or this cat, or this companion animal, which I guarantee you they're going to do because they're excited to talk about this animal and talk about the opportunity of getting this animal out into its forever home. So if you're leaving comments on social media, if you're seeing somebody out in the wild with an adoptable dog, just be mindful of the things that you say, because implying that we're giving them up that means that we love them any less. It just, I don't know, it just really isn't helpful. So this is a really short episode. I really just wanted to make sure that I had something coming in your feed. You might be able to notice I'm in a little bit of a different setting than I normally am when I record. I'm taking care of some things with my family, and I was hoping maybe since I dropped 2 episodes for you last week, that you're cool with me dropping a little one this week. I am, however, going to do a foster spotlight because I have a foster right now. If you've been following the podcast on Instagram at the Foster Files Podcast, then you have seen pictures and videos of her. So I'm actually going to share my screen so that you can see her. And as all of my fosters are currently, she is with Cross Your Paws. Cross Your Paws, of course, is located in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. And what was very cool about this particular litter is there was 11 of them. And so the organization decided to name the litter after volunteers within the organization. So this is my little namesake. This is Kelly. They are calling her and her litter mates lab and terrier mixes. Honestly, I can't place what her breed is. Certainly, if you think you know what kind of breed she is, I'd be happy to hear your input. But she is a people dog. Like, you can even tell in the pictures that I'm showing you, if you're following along on YouTube, that her eyes are on her people all the time. She loves people. We have seen her get very attached. She is extremely attached to me, even though Michael, my husband, is probably one of the sweetest men in the entire world. She doesn't really want much to do with him, and is just kind of learning to trust him even 3 weeks later. So she has latched on to me, and she has decided I'm her person. But what's really great about that is I get all of her cuddles, I get all of her snuggles. And she is a really good snuggler. She's a really good cuddler. She does get along with other dogs. She definitely is going to need to continue to be socialized with both people and dogs because she's very wary of the world and because she's very wary of new people. If whoever adopts her does not intentionally socialize her, my concern is that she would potentially go to the point where she can't be around new people and new dogs. She does need socialization. She does need to be exposed because she needs to know that she's okay in those settings. She's about 3 to 4 months old. She is up to date on all her vaccinations. She is not spayed yet. She's a little young for that, but of course, Cross Your Paws. If you work with one of Cross Your Paws vets post adoption, we will sponsor her spay. If you decide to use your own vet, you get a $50 credit toward your, using your own vet to spay the dog that you adopt from Cross Your Paws. Like I said before, she's great with other dogs. She's been cat tested and she's good with cats. She is good with kids, actually. The website says they're not sure on kids, but I've had her around my nieces and nephews who are all 5 and under, and she's been great with them. I mean, she doesn't want to like engage with them, she doesn't want to play with them, but she's great with them. So as long as they're not chasing her, she's fine. But honestly, if your kids are doing that, you shouldn't get a dog anyway. But yeah, Kelly is super sweet. She is looking for a home and she's available for adoption at Cross Your Paws in Greensburg. I will put the link to her bio in the show notes, and it would be super cool if a listener actually decided to adopt her. So that is the episode today, guys. That's all I got for you. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of that language that I'm hearing, especially since this dog is so attached to me. People really say that, like, how could you possibly give her up if she's that attached to you? And the answer to that is I'm going to physically pick her up and I'm going to hand her to the new adopter and I'm going to turn around and walk away. And that's how I'm going to give her up, because the reality of it is, as attached as she is to me, there's no reason there for that. She just latched on to me and she's going to latch onto her new owner in exactly the same way. Once she knows that she's safe, once she knows she's getting food and attention that's positive, she's going to be just fine. So hopefully the new owners will want to stay in touch with me so I can see how she grows up. But yeah, it's just really important that we stop using that language for fosters, because it's not helpful. It's not helpful in any way. So if you haven't already, please follow the podcast on Instagram at the Foster Files Podcast. Please subscribe to my newsletter. The link is in my bio to be able to do that. I only drop it once a month. And if there's anybody that you think that I should be talking to, please let me know. But other than that, have a great day. Be kind to yourselves and be kind to animals.